Christi or Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm back with another weekly update. It's still pretty early in the day. I wanted to get out here before it got too hot because fall in Texas is as unpredictable as any other season in Texas. So let's go ahead and get started and let's see what's going on. All right, as usual, we are starting in the tomato patch. You can see I kind of added a little bit more support to the eggplants here. These plants are absolutely massive. For reference, I'm 5'6" and they stand a good 6 to 8 inches taller than me. But as you can also see, there are so many eggplants on here. I harvested 4 yesterday. 2 earlier in the week, so we are definitely having a fantastic eggplant fall. These 2 plants seem to have the most. There's a few down here, but not as many as those first 2 plants that we took a look at. And it's been a while since I've given you an update on the fall/winter crops in here, so let me kind of work my way through this maze. You can see where whatever the critter was that was eating cowpeas, this is where it would eat them. So I would come out here and see new shells every day, but I haven't seen any spent shells in a few days, so I don't know. Anyway, along the back there are Brussels sprouts. Those are still growing, so yay for that. All of the cabbages that I transplanted in here, there were 2. There was like the regular, head cabbage, and then the Napa cabbage that is typically used in like kimchi. All of those got nibbled except for perhaps this one. It's the only cabbage. Whoa. Except for this one. That one right there is the only one that I have left. So I don't know if the basil protected it or what, but yeah, that's the situation. Brussels sprouts are growing, cabbage not so much. But this middle bed, as you can see, is just super full and really lush and leafy. So that's really cool. The cowpeas in this bed are starting to slow down. You can see the leaves are starting to get some wear and tear on them. There were a couple of mornings last week that were in the 40s. So I think that kind of put a damper on whatever else these plants were going to grow. So within the next week, I plan on just cutting these down. The brassicas that are in here, the broccolis and cauliflowers, as you can see, those are doing really well. I don't think we have any, heads or anything forming yet, but man, they're getting really tall and lush. All the way down the bed here, let's see if I can meander my way through this maze of plants. The radishes that I planted are growing. The chaos lettuce is growing a bit. There's also some volunteer basil that is growing, more radishes on down. There are a few carrots along that side between the tomatoes that are growing. So yeah, there's so much variety in this bed alone that it's really incredible. And the tomatoes, let me come around this side. As you can see, tomatoes are tomatoing. We have several tomatoes all the way down the beds. They're forming even way up here. I have had a few hornworms this week that I've had to pull off. So that makes 14 for the entire season so far. That being said, there's only 1 basil plant left in here. So, like fully mature basil plant. So I think that has something to do with the increase in hornworms. Plus it doesn't have the shade cover anymore to kind of slow them down. But that's okay. That's okay. They're not eating much. But you can see there's just tomatoes galore. There's a ripe one. I'll go ahead and harvest that. And then there's another one in there that is ready. We have a calendula here about to bloom, but yeah, super fall tomato happenings going on here. That one will be ripe in a couple of days. This purple basil is kind of trying to fizzle out. You can see where it's really droopy down here, so I'll probably end up cutting it down here relatively soonish. We'll see. But let me try to get in. Actually, let me come down this way because I don't want to cast my shadow over the amazingness that's happening in this bed. Look how lush and full this bed is getting. So at this end, we have collard greens. There's 3 different types of collard greens growing in this bed. There's variegated, which is these, the Alabama blue. You can see the leaves do have more of a blue tint to them when compared to the other leaves here. I don't know if you can see the difference there. And then we have the Georgia Southern over here. Cowpeas are still doing well in this bed, so I'm just gonna let them go until they don't go anymore. And then at this end, we have kale. Now the kale was transplanted in later than the collard greens, that's why they're not quite as big and leafy. But there's several types of kale here. They're all doing really well. You can see all the different color and texture with the different types of kale that we have. So I know this is quite a lot for a family of 5. So I'm going to be sharing the kale, the collard greens, and then some of those brassicas with my in-laws. And then the cowpeas I will share with my mom and my nanny. And I'll share some collard greens with them too because they love those. So sharing the love over here. But I just love so much how these beds right here are looking. That is so beautiful, so full of life there. Moving on over here. Now these are starting to slow down a bit. We went camping over the weekend and I didn't have a chance to harvest the okra Friday before we left, so I didn't harvest it until Sunday when we came back. And oh my goodness, look at this one that I missed, y'all. That is a huge okra. Today's Thursday. So I've harvested, here's another one. When they blend in, I miss them really easy, and I'm also rushing. Anyway, today's Thursday. I've harvested twice since we got back from camping. Looks like I need to harvest again. These are slowing down, as I said. That one looks like it's ready to harvest and it's not like terribly massive. In here, I have rutabagas that something is nibbling all the leaves on. Could be grasshoppers, could be roly-polies. I don't know what it is. It is putting on new leaves on a few of them, so I'm just gonna let them go, see what happens. The bell peppers are still doing, there's another okra that's ready right there. The bell peppers are still doing amazing. I'm going to let these go until the first frost. Once the first killing frost comes, then I'll come cut these plants down, and that'll be the end of the bell pepper season. I've harvested 4 this week for various cooking needs, and you know, I'm staying in bell peppers for every time I need them for something. So that's really cool. I didn't even realize that I liked bell peppers that much, but here we are. Look at this guy. That's a nice bell pepper. Oh my goodness. I may harvest that just because it's causing so much weight on the plant. I don't know if I need it for anything though. I'll have to think. Anyway, beautiful bell pepper right there. In here is all the kohlrabi. These smaller ones were just transplanted in yesterday. These larger ones that have like the purple stems have been in here for a little while. So these are looking pretty good. That one's still undergoing a little bit of transplant shock, but I think it'll be fine. And then over here in this bed, now this bed used to have okra in it. I cut it down several weeks ago. But let's talk about peppers. Shishitos. Okay. Before we went camping on Friday, I did come out and harvest all of the mature sized shishitos. that were on here because I was going to cook them on the black stone while we were camping, but it didn't work out. I ended up cooking them on Sunday, or Monday. I cooked them on Monday, but it's ready to be harvested again, and there's so many. It's crazy. It's crazy. These look at this. These plants have just provided us with so much food this year. There's only 2 shishito plants here, and they've provided us with so much food this year. It's been absolutely incredible. I didn't weigh it, and I should have, to give you guys a total amount so you would get an idea, but just imagine harvesting something like that 6 or 7 times so far this year. I dropped a tomato, and there's an ant pile right there that I need to treat. Yuck. All right, zucchini, powdery mildew galore. Powdery mildew, yuck. But, I finally have a zucchini growing. If you guys know about, if you've been following along all garden season, you will know that every attempt at squash has failed this year. It was growing. I had plants planted in there, roly-polies, 8 seedlings as soon as they sprouted. Then I got 2 to maturity where they were blooming, and then squash bugs and squash vine borers wiped them out. And then I replanted again for the fall. So I have this one here and one in that bed in the middle of all those bell peppers. And I finally have a zucchini. I'm so excited. I don't know if there's any other female flowers down there. It's fine. I have the one. If you can harvest one, then your garden season is a success, right? That's how I'm looking at it. On down here, these are more sweet peppers. These are Ajvarski, and as you can see, they get quite large. They have thick walls like bell peppers do. They're sweet. Here you go. These get quite large. And whenever they ripen, I will dehydrate them and use them as paprika. Purple beauty, bell peppers, there's a ton. This was one of the 4 that I harvested. I harvested one yesterday for a stir fry, so really excited to see all those. And then back here, I'm trying to remember if this is radishes. No, these are turnips here that are growing here and here and here. So not a whole lot, but better than 0. We'll see if we can keep the roly-polies away from them, because as you can see, if you can see them crawling around there, that's a problem that I've battled all year long. But then down here, we have beets. Lots of little beet seedlings. So far so good in terms of roly-polies. Kind of leaving them alone. So we have yellow beets, and then I don't know, I can't remember if those were the bull's blood or the stripy ones. Anyway, that is the raised bed portion of the garden. Earlier this week, I posted a video detailing a whole long task list of stuff that I needed to do this week. As you can see here, I have not gotten the garlic done yet. I need to go get some compost in order to amend these, and I just haven't had a chance to go get that. Once I get the compost, it's smooth sailing from there. It's just that time that I need in order to go get it. But over here in the flower bed, there has been quite a bit of progress. The zinnias, most of the zinnias, looks like I missed one here. Most of the zinnias were cut down. Go ahead and pull that. And the eggplant on a stick that was flanking my pathway there, those were cut down, and I was going to make a flower arrangement from the little pumpkins, but by the time I came back outside to get them, they were like covered in ants, so I was not able to do that. So that makes me sad. I'm still undecided if I'm going to grow them again next year. If I do, I will have to support them because they were like laid all the way down into the grass, and I didn't want that to happen. The other progress that was made in this bed, aside from those 2 things, is I have sorry, not sunflowers, snapdragons transplanted into here. Now this side has 8. I just made like a little snapdragon patch here, and then the other side down there has 5 or 6. And then as you can see, looks a lot cleaner without all the mildewed zinnias. There's that zinnia still left, but it looks like it has lots of healthy leaves, so that's fine. Without the sick zinnias and the pumpkin on a stick. Open this up so you can see all the different flowers that are blooming, and then kind of the mirror image down here of the progress and the change. It looks a lot different without the zinnias right here. I couldn't even get through there because they had just grown all the way over and kind of killed my pathway. These marigolds are out into the yard, so I'm gonna try to flop them back without, well, partially destroying plants. Good job. Real life gardening, y'all. All right, over here, if you have kept up with me all season, you'll remember that this did have cowpeas all the way down. I pulled them out. They were slowly fizzling out. They weren't really producing anymore, and the bok choy is now planted in there. I did water it, I promise. I watered it from the top, so the surface of the soil may look dry, but down in it does have moisture and stuff. So as these get over their transplant shock, they should bounce back and be perfectly fine. That is this kale that I can't seem to kill. Is a blue curled scotch, however you say it, kale. This is its 2nd year in the same green stalk. I'm guessing caterpillars are the culprit for how holy that is right there. But as it cools down, we'll be able to eat off of that. It's just too hot right now. The leaves will be really bitter. I didn't really plant any bok choy on this side because it doesn't get enough sun. And I didn't want to stunt their growth. They were already kind of stunted from being left in their seed starting trays for too long, and I didn't want to impede that anymore. So those are going to be left empty, and I'll just continue to water, fertilize, all those things. That way that soil is healthy for lettuce planting in early spring. All right, hot pepper green stalk. Now you can still see a ton of peppers on here. I did come through this morning actually and harvest all of the mature sized peppers, except for these. I'm letting them ripen on the vine. I'm also letting the serranos and the cayennes and the tabascos ripen on the vine, but all of the jalapenos and everything else, if it was mature size, I went ahead and harvested it. And I'll show you guys what that looks like right there. That is this morning's pepper harvest, and it is quite awesome. So I should get at least one more full green stalk harvest before first frost, but I wanted to go ahead and get some more pickled jalapenos made. I think they'll make some nice Christmas gifts for some family members. So really excited about that. And strawberries are still just chucking along, kicking some booty, putting off lots of runners. Almost all the pockets have been filled in with runners. Now I just need to come out and kind of enforce it and force these little nodules to take root wherever they can. The lime tree, this is a trip, y'all. Okay, so I transplanted this in, I can't remember when it was, maybe a month ago or so, and filled it with new soil and all that. And the tree is like absolutely crazy healthy now. It has a ton of new leaf growth, and then it started blooming for like the 3rd time this year. So I don't know if these actually pollinated or not. I'm thinking that they do require some sort of help pollinating. I haven't Googled it to see, but I'm just letting it happen. If they did actually set fruit and these are little baby limes, then I will be growing limes indoors in the winter, along with all of this volunteer basil here. I don't know varieties. That looks kind of like blue spice, but I'm sure it's some sort of weird hybrids because I had 3 different varieties planted really close together. So we'll see. I'll just have winter basil right out of the garden essentially, plus the lime tree and whatever fruit might have possibly set. I'm not like guaranteeing it. I'm looking forward to it if it did, but I'm not counting on it. It'll just be a cool bonus for me. All right, now we get to this green stalk. This one is a mess, y'all. This is like a whole different level of messiness that's happening here. The Persian basil that was right here, it was really starting to die off, so I cut it down yesterday. These two okra plants that are at the top, I don't know, they've lost all their leaves, and I don't know, I'll probably end up cutting them down too. The mint, I still need to cut back. It's everywhere. It is like taken over, as mint does. It's kind of running the lives of everything else in here. Cinnamon basil, I need to go ahead and cut down. This backside has super hots, and they're actually growing super hots. So right here we have Carolina Reaper, scary guy, and we have some habaneros here. I can handle habanero all right, so I'm happy to see these. This guy isn't actually a super hot, but I didn't have space for him in the other green stalk. This is an Aleppo pepper. It's typically used in Mediterranean and Middle Eastern in what is called harissa. So excited about that. But these guys were such late producers, although this habanero has a bunch on it. So that's something that I'm gonna need to remember for next year, is that these super hots are going to produce later than the hots and the sweet peppers. We'll see what I can get to come of this before first frost happens. But if all else fails, we're just eating green super hots. This planter did have a bunch of volunteer blue spice basil. I removed it yesterday. It was dying off. There was a strawberry that I planted in here. There's two. So hopefully they can kind of take root and start growing now that they aren't being choked out. This is sweet alyssum. It's still kind of alive, so I left it. And then this is volunteer Greek oregano. That's what this is as well. So hopefully those will be able to get a little bit of fresh life to them now that the basil hasn't, taken all their room and stuff. I'll show you guys Logans Mum because it is blooming and it is so beautiful. That is so full and lush. I can't believe it. I love it so much. But that is the look at the late October weekly garden update. Everything is, well, most things are growing really well. Some things are fizzling out, which is to be expected, but everything looks really great, and I'm really happy with how the garden looks at this point, especially the flower bed, even though it's still kind of wild and growing everywhere. I am happy to see all the flowers and the different colors and things. It's really pretty. But that is all I have for you for this weekly update. If you want to see how the garden continues to grow and change from week to week, please like and subscribe and comment and do all those different YouTube-y things. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. And until next time, go find a way to get those garden manicures. Bye!